Hey there everyone, Hitesh here and welcome to the cloud journey. So in one of the earlier video, which was a bit raw video, I mentioned that I'm doing my masters in cloud and now the entire year for me is just to focus on the cloud tech and learning more in depth about the cloud. And I won't be doing this journey all alone. I'll be taking you for the ride as well in the YouTube videos. So a little bit of the direction of this channel for the next 1 year is going to be towards cloud and we're going to be focusing a lot about the cloud. Now, there's so many things that can go wrong when you're trying to learn about the cloud and the cloud related technologies, and there is no clear pathway to learn it. And this video is not a roadmap because it wouldn't be doing that much of justification if I just put out a roadmap. Surely I'll try to do that, but this video is more about a proper understanding, in-depth guide of how you should be getting started with your cloud journey. And I'll walk you through with some of the certification exam as well, that how you can prepare for them, which one to prepare, which one you can skip, and how you can get started with that. Now, first and foremost, you need to understand that there are obviously different goals for different people to get started with the cloud journey. Some who really want to explore it, go in depth on it, do research on it, they will obviously have different path compared to somebody who is already working in a company and he just want to grab some bits and pieces of knowledge which is really important for his workflow or her workflow. So in that case, we are going to go for that side of the story. So I'll also cover that, but don't you worry on that part. It's absolutely easy and you can still pick up those parts as well. But right now, my focus is that you are absolute beginner. You just want to get started with the cloud, but you have no idea how to get started. It's already a confusing world with the AWS, GCP, Azure, which one to pick, which one is market dominant, which one will help you to move forward in the cloud. So this video is all about that. I have prepared some notes for you as well, which I'll be sharing in this one. These are not just notes, these are some just bullet points to keep our video on the track itself. So that's what we'll be doing. So let me first open up my iPad so that I can actually go ahead and share all of this with you. So I'll just open this up. All right, so let me first take my iPad on the screen itself and share the screen as well so that you can also go ahead and work with that. So I'll go up here. All right, so this is what we have, how to get started with the cloud journey. In order to start your cloud journey, first thing that you really need to understand and go through with it is why we are learning the cloud tech. Now, for me, I would say that, hey, cloud is not the future, it has already arrived. Now, there are a lot of technologies in the world which are the future. You are learning for them because there might be a future scope of it. But things are already arrived and are already here. These days, you are not even writing much of the code in your own computer. You're writing it in the browser itself. Like, for example, GitHub Code Sandbox or the code space, as you say them. There are a lot of such things which are just browser based. And all of this is happening just because of the cloud. It is state-of-the-art tech. It is going to really revolutionize the thing. You might be interested in data science, artificial intelligence, but the reality is the data science and artificial intelligence is not at all possible with your own home computer. It needs to be in the cloud. It needs really high processing power, high GPUs, and that are not really cheap to just put it and set up on your home. It's something that you need to borrow. Maybe you are borrowing from NVIDIA directly or maybe from Amazon, cloud, Google, wherever you are borrowing. But all of these things actually involve a lot of the cloud, and having an in-depth knowledge of it is surely going to help you throughout. Now, cloud is going to be in the future something like, hey, it is something that you really need to know whether you work in web development, mobile development, or data science or artificial intelligence. Everything needs to be deployed somewhere. And this is what clouds actually equip you. Also, apart from this, this is my personal interest and I'm highly, highly enthusiastic about the cloud. And that is why I'm even pursuing masters in it. So that's my goal. Now, one of the things that you'll notice here is whenever you start or want to start learn about the cloud, there are three options in front of you. The first one being AWS, the second one being Azure, and the third one is GC, which is Google Cloud. Now, obviously, a lot of people are going to put you into the path where they are most comfortable. Somebody who is working for Google or is having an association with Google Cloud, he'll be just training you all around for the Google Cloud. Somebody who has Microsoft partnership, they'll obviously train you with Azure and will say, hey, Microsoft has so many of the already corporate clients, they are going very aggressive in it, and you should be learning for this one. But I'll tell you something different on this one. Now, one thing you need to really understand is AWS has the highest market share right now. I will not name the companies here, but I know the companies who has official tie-up with Azure, but behind the scene, they have some team which are actually incorporating their cloud on AWS. They cannot officially do that because there are some gold partnership and whatnot with the Azure in different countries and different states as well. But reality is some of their clients' work can only be solved by services which are available only in AWS. Are they cheap? Probably not, because they are not available in other clouds. So yes, the fact is that the market dominance is still in the AWS, and I have seen a lot of startups using it. In fact, a lot of startups who got the credits from Azure, as soon as the credits ran out, they moved into AWS because of two reasons. First, it offers hell lot of services compared to other clouds. Second, the market adoption. Since the market adoption was little early for AWS, there are already AWS experts in the market which are going there. Now, since this video don't have any association with any of the cloud partners, I have no hesitant in saying that yes, AWS is dominating. The very close by near is Azure, and the second and the the third last is actually the Google Cloud. Now, I have been into Google Cloud conferences as well. I have talked to their VPs and whole bunch of other things. They are moving little aggressive there, but they have not arrived here. So if I had to learn personally, I would be going with AWS, and this series is going to be focusing on AWS as well. A lot of in-depth, what all we should learn and how we should learn and all of that. So I'll be taking care of that. Now, you also need to understand that cloud is little more than these three options. Whenever there's a cloud term being involved, or there's a lecture, or there's a video, everybody just says, hey, these are only going to be the three options available for us. But it's not correct, actually. There are a lot of other cloud services which are available there. They are obviously not that well spoken in the market. For example, there is a AliExpress cloud as well. Ali, you might have heard about them from China. I'll not name the company, but one of the company which recently made IPO, really big fintech firm, they are using a lot of Chinese cloud. And yes, we cannot name this openly, but yes, this is the fact that they're using a lot of cloud services. Not only that, there are companies like Vulture, a lot of them are there which have their cloud services, and sometimes it's cheaper to actually just take a compute machine from those bare metals and bare bone clouds instead of AWS, because sometimes AWS is expensive. Most of the time it's expensive. So yes, I'll talk about those cloud as well once we understand that how the basics of it works. We'll definitely throw in some of the non-popular cloud services which are absolutely amazing, really cheap, great service as well. And obviously, in case you have never heard about that, there are some more cloud services. You might have heard about them, which is, heard about it, Vercel. Yes, Vercel is also a cloud service, but it's not going to rent you your compute service. You can deploy your apps and use their edge services and all of that. But yes, although it's a cloud service end of the day. So yes, it's not just about these three services. There are so many of the more as well. Now, this brings to one of the most important point to take the decision of why you should be choosing AWS. I'm not advocating it, by the way. I'm just putting the market facts here. I have no association with any one of them. Let me take you on to a different right example here. Let's just say there is a React in the market. There is this React Native, Flutter, or any mobile development in the market, and then there is a Rust. Which one would you like to take your bet on right now? Now, React looks solid, although you can say React or maybe Next.js, whatever, just the same thing. This is already here, and there is a lot demand here, great demand. There is a lot of people who are learning it, so there is an abundance of resources here, and companies have a demand, good demand too. So this is the bet, and again, this is just an example. I'll come back onto the cloud in a second. Just listen this example. So you can actually spend your time in learning React or Next.js. There's a lot of demand. There are a lot of people learning it, so there will be a lot of inflow. You can also spend your time in learning React Native or Flutter, which is also almost here, which has arrived. There is a decent demand in market as well, but the inflow of the people who are learning it, very rare, very handful of them. And then there is a Rust. Great foreseen future, but it has not arrived yet. Lot of enthusiast coder are looking forward for it. Market demand, very specific niche companies are using it, but not all of them. So which one would you choose? React, Next.js, some mobile development, or Flutter, or Rust? Again, there is no right or wrong answer here. Again, it might be depends on when you want to utilize your knowledge, when you want to offer your services as a payment, for a payment with the companies. So all of the choices are right. Same goes with the AWS as well. AWS is already here, market dominant, great in demand, inflow is also great, demand is also great. Azure, it's almost here, but not that much. Not many people are learning it. Decent demand in the market. Google Cloud, it might arrive in the future. There is a lot of enthusiasm around it. Same happens. There is no right and wrong. Choose accordingly. I'll choose AWS in this case. In this case, I've already chosen React and Native, so just one for that. Okay, so which one we are picking up? We are obviously picking up AWS. Simply because it's a safe option right now. I can easily work with it, and a lot of options are there. It's a mega option. By the term mega option means mass adoption is already there, so I don't have to worry whether I'll be able to utilize my skill or not. I can offer my skills to a lot of things here, and it's highly usage in the industry. Okay. With this, I would again like to mention this that hey, other clouds are not bad. Just because AWS is ahead in the game doesn't mean other clouds are bad or we are not going to be, we are anti cloud or something. Just because we are not talking about it doesn't mean we are against it. We are absolutely loving those cloud services as well. Sometimes we will be comparing them as well and all of that. One more thing before I show you some of the certification paths as well in this video, one more thing I would like to share is in search of cloud learning, a lot of people actually jump into the DevOps journey. Cloud and DevOps are two completely separate things. DevOps is more about tool-centric approach and a work-centric approach, that how the workflow should be there, how the mindset should be there. And cloud is more towards centric how the things actually work in the cloud, how the virtualization work. A lot of people I have noticed that they wanted to learn cloud, but somehow they have enrolled themselves in the DevOps bootcamp or DevOps courses. You really want to segregate right now, right here, that your interest is in cloud or is it in DevOps tools like Kubernetes, Docker, and all of that. I do have videos on them in this channel as well. You can find the Docker video or the Kubernetes videos here in this. But this time we are focusing more on the cloud learning. So make sure you get that part. Now, the video doesn't end here because I want to show you something more which is interesting. You are absolutely going to love this part as well. So let me just first actually bring this one. So the next up we are going to work on is, let me just go ahead and work with this one. So I'll just go back onto, all right, so let me just minimize this. And we're going to open this one. All right, so here's the interesting part onto this one. What we're going to notice in this case that I have gone through with almost all the certifications here. There is AWS certification, Google Cloud exam, and Microsoft exam as well. So I'll walk you through how actually this works and why I'm showing you all of this. So first and foremost, there is a AWS certification path being given to you, which one you should opt for. So notice here, all the path journeys like solution architect journey or application architect journey, cloud data engineer journey, software development journey, all of these journeys have one thing common, which is cloud practitioner. I have seen a lot of people are going to say that, hey, this is a very basic exam, you can skip this. I would say absolutely wrong. This exam is designed in such a way that you actually get the breadth and width of AWS. Once you understand the width and breadth of AWS, you don't go deep into each and every service, but actually you understand the gist of it. Okay, this service is used for X purpose, this service is used for Y purpose, and a whole bunch of things like that. So this is what it makes super amazing and absolute amazing, that hey, everybody should actually go with the cloud practitioner first, get the length and breadth of services, and then decide that which one you are going to pick. Are you going to cloud architect, or you maybe want to go with the solution architect, or maybe you want to go with the developer associate. There are a lot of journeys with that. Again, it doesn't mean that here the developer is written, that means you have to write a lot of code. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't mean there is a written system administration or the cloud engineer, there is a sysops, so you have to do the cloud engineering there. No, it doesn't work like that. There are scenarios that what developer might be using or what services would be favorable for a developer, those services are taught more. Similarly, in the data engineer role, what services will be ideal in the use case of a data engineer role, that services are focused more and are hands-on more. This is what the AWS exam and certification goes for them. So there are a lot of paths on that. One thing we are going to focus right now is we're going to with the cloud practitioner. The future videos are going to be for preparing for the cloud practitioner itself. Whether you want to give the exam or not, this series will be helpful for you to understand the length and breadth of AWS. And then probably we'll figure out that we want to go with the solution architect or developer, whatever. We'll decide this later on. This is the path we'll be choosing. But again, same exam paths are available for Microsoft as well. There are a lot of exam certification. If you click on the browse certification, you'll see there are so many options available here. I don't like the way how this is being laid out. This is just being dumped in front of us and we don't know which one to pick up. So it's not a great journey. I need to prepare a separate dedicated video which talks about how to prepare for different AZ exams. There are a lot of numbers around it. So it's not really, really the great that how it is being laid out. I found that the PDF in the AWS is much more helpful for the community to understand which exam to go for, which one to not go for. Here you can see if I just click on the beginner level, even it says, hey, go for Microsoft 365. I don't want to do 365. I'll probably go for MS 900 or probably which one? Or what does this AI 900 means? Is this beginner friendly? Like what's going to be there? It's a little confusing. We need a proper roadmap for this one. Same happens with the Google Cloud exam as well, that you can view for certifications, like what certifications are available and all of that. One thing I would like to mention here, which you will absolutely love, I have noticed, I've seen this personally in the AWS and I've seen this in the Google Cloud as well. Once you do couple of certification, not with the first one, actually you clear 2 or 3 certification exam, they have a directory. AWS has this directory, Google has this directory. I'm not sure about the Microsoft. And there they list all the people and the job vacancies as well, that hey, these are the job vacancies available and these are the people who have cleared these exams. So they try to match them up. And I talked to the Google guys as well for this one. They are trying to go a little more aggressive on that, so that internally there are lots of hiring positions available for the cloud, and people who have cleared the exam, they can actually apply to these positions directly. Remote jobs, on location, there's all the options available. I have personally seen that happening in the AWS. This doesn't happen with the 1 or 2 exam that you cleared. Once you complete, I guess, 4 exams or some certain level of exam, then only it unlocks that kind of a job portal for us. That is fantastic. A job portal being powered by the cloud people from the Amazon and Google. I don't know if there is anything more. Google is also partnering with a lot of companies, and in order to fulfill their demand for these engineers, they are helping these developers and these companies to directly link them up. And I talked to the Google team as well. They are very aggressive on that. So both teams are aggressive there, Amazon and Google. So it's not like you're just doing the certification. Now certification has more values. So it's a good idea to do so. But again, if you don't do that, that's okay. You just learn the topics. Quite a lot that we have learned and studied in this one. I hope this video was helpful for you to actually grab the knowledge and just in pieces of how one should approach the cloud and all of that. Now, in the future videos onwards, I'll walk you through that what is the platform you choose, how much you should be ready to pay the bill, and then we're going to be starting our first exam journey, CCP, the Cloud Practitioner exam, AWS Cloud Practitioner Foundational. So this is the one that we'll be preparing for that one. All right, quite a long video, but I hope you have enjoyed this one. Let's go ahead and catch up in the next one.